48 stars flew proudly in a field of blue on our flag. Continent of Europe. Mussolini joined in declaring war in June 1940. The same month that France was overcome by Nazi Germany. Churchill became Prime Minister of England and aggressively led that country's valiant fight against the Axis. Our country was divided in attitude towards getting involved in what some called Europe's problem. The Lend-Lease program was started, and war materials and equipment were sent to England. But the United States officially remained neutral. Then came that fateful day, December 7, 1941.
If your name is Michelle Piastro, you are at Carnegie Hall fighting the splendid your violin for the Sunday afternoon performance. If you are Gerald Nye, you are addressing 2,200 American persons in Pittsburgh. If your name is Sabula Barutu, you are waiting in the outer office at Cornell Hall. If you are a sailor named Thomas at a place called Pearl Harbor, you and 2,116 of your buddies will be dead when the day is done. We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii by air. President Roosevelt has just announced. The attack also was made on all naval and military activities from the principal island of Oahu.
Recruiting stations were jammed with young men determined to enlist. This brought a whole new way of life to our country. Coastal New England had blackouts from dark to dawn. Volunteer wardens made sure not a crack of light shone from any building. Airplane spotting stations were set up and manned 24/7 by volunteers. To man spotting stations, 1 or 2 days each week for the duration. Some grain trawls were taken over by the National Guard. Rationing became a way of life. Sugar, coffee, butter, and meat were all limited, and ration books were required to get them. I now present to you George and Harriet. Is a grumpy elderly man and finds fault with everything. Harriet is George's hairy wife, who patiently tries to keep him in love.
What's the news on the war, George?
You don't want to hear. Sugar?
George, you've asked me that same question every day for the last month. Don't you get tired of hearing the same answer?
I keep hoping the answer will change.
Well, it hasn't. Sam down at the A&P still says they might get a shipment next week. But if it ever does come in, we'll still only get a quarter pound.
Next week never seems to come, does it?
I'm sorry, George.
Rationing. I'm so sick of rationing. Sugar, tires, gas, meat, butter. Ah, butter. How I long for the taste of it. I'm so sick of the taste of lard. When is this war going to end?
I certainly hope it's soon. I want George Jr. to come home again.
So do I. Then his wife and George III and that baby can live with him instead of with us.
You know Sally has to work, and I enjoy taking care of the children.
Well, this house is too small for 5 people. And I need my sleep. All that baby does is cry and cry and cry and cry and cry and cry.
She's only 2 weeks old, George. Give me time.
Any butter?
No, but that reminds me, George. Look it. We have this new stuff. It's supposed to be butter. You turn it into butter.
What the heck is this?
Jane says it's the new butter.
Butter? It's white. Butter's yellow.
No, George, look at this. See this?
Oh, a red button?
You just,
What's that for?
you're just supposed to squish that and then knead it. So why don't you try that?
Sounds fishy to me. Oh, the red button popped. Oh, red stuff is oozing all over. No.
Keep squeezing. By the way, where is George III? His oatmeal is getting cold.
Oh, I sent him to work stripping, washing, and squashing.
George, you were supposed to do those cans.
Keeps the kid busy. Besides, he's earning money.
He is?
Oh, yes. I told him I'd pay him cash money.
Cash money? You? How much?
1 penny for each 5 pounds that he does.
A whole penny. Daddy Warbucks, you're not.
Does the kid good to earn his keep. Say, this stuff is turning yellow. My gosh, it's working.
Keep squeezing, I told you. Is Sally coming down to breakfast soon?
Sally? She said no time for breakfast this morning. Last I saw her, she was dressed in her Rosie the Riveter outfit and was headed right out the door.
I wish that girl would eat breakfast.
What the heck is on the back of your legs?
Oh, this is Jane's idea too. You draw a line up the back of your legs that everyone thinks you're wearing nylons. Mine all have ones, and you just can't buy a pair anywhere.
Well, you'd better learn to draw a straighter line. Or everyone will think you have runaway varicose veins.
It was my first attempt, George. I'll get better with practice.
Well, I certainly hope so. Hey, I think this butter's done.
Well, let's try it out. Well, how is it, George?
You opened it and you put butter on that. You want me to try it?
Yeah, how is it, George?
pass the lard.
The amount received was dependent on the use of the vehicles. Buses were jammed. There was a real fear of air raids, and large gatherings of people were discouraged. During the long evenings, with minimal use of lights and worries about loved ones on the front, parlor games were a favorite pastime. At this time, the five left with the lectures from the other five New England states. Please come on stage and join us. Join me. Got the answer?
That's all you got. God's going to get you for this. Yeah, right, and if he doesn't, I will.
Okay, number two.
First word.
Give it to him again. Listen here. Thank you. In the shade of your Could we have number three, please?
Yeah, we do.
That's all right. You know the word? How about the word? It's called payback.
How many words?
And now number five. Many were granted their diplomas early if they enlisted. Many a young woman spent their time carrying around a picture of her boyfriend or husband. There were no computers or television. Radio and newspapers were the only source of information.
This is Supreme Headquarters, Allied Expeditionary Force, and a man from Kansas would have had to pass the world with clay forward. General Dwight D. Eisenhower. People of Western Europe. A landing was made this morning on the coast of France by troops of the Allied Expeditionary Force. This landing is part of the concerted United Nations planning for the liberation of Europe, made in conjunction with our great Russian allies. The liberation, like the message that signaled it, came in many continents.
By this time, Americans had become used to a new way of life. A new way of life wore abroad. Flags were in the windows of many homes showing a blue star for living servicemen from that hour, and the gold one for those who had been killed. Defense industries were vital, and thousands of people worked 12 hours a day, 6 or 7 days a week. For the first time, many of them were women. For both urban and rural families, as they planted vegetables to grow some of their own food. To produce all the meat, vegetables, and fruit they could. Many changes. President Roosevelt met with Stalin and Churchill at Yalta, and Russia became an ally. On April 12, 1945, when the death of President Franklin Roosevelt was announced, a feeling of unease spread among Americans. Who was this Harry Truman? How could he lead us in these terrible times? Time proved that he could lead us. Less than a month after he became president, he announced on May 8, 1945, that the Germans surrendered.
The Germans have surrendered! The Germans have surrendered! The Germans have surrendered! The Germans have
Still raging in the Pacific. The Japanese belief that dying fighting for their emperor ensured a glorious afterlife made their military